Hey, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Jordyn.
We want to welcome you to the Sustain Me podcast, where we teach others how to live a healthy life by breaking down the basics of health through the Sustain Me principle.
And we want to show you that true health is attainable, affordable, and achievable.
In every episode, we will discuss topics breaking down the Sustain Me principle.
So sit back, relax, or sit up and take notes for
the Sustain Me podcast. Woo!
Hello.
Hi.
We're actually doing this.
I know. It's only been like 6 months in the making.
It's almost been as long as a birth.
No kidding, because we started the idea of this right after you had Cohen? Or before?
Maybe before. So it's been longer.
So it's been a year. Never mind. It's taken us a year.
But it's happening.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's okay. We have good excuses, as in, like, there's a baby here now, so...
Children.
Who's about to turn 1.
He did turn 1.
Yeah. Oh, no, he did turn...
He's 1.
He is 1.
You should know. You were here.
I was.
So, that saying, we are so excited to get this going. Like, this has really been on our heart to do. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to make sure that we do it to the best of our ability.
Yes.
With the time that we have.
Yes, in between. So, I have 4 kids. Jordyn has 2. And we have husbands, which makes it more than... Plus husbands. Love you husbands.
Love them.
Yeah. But it makes it where orchestrating, getting time where moms can be by ourselves, like, that's actually been the hardest part.
That takes a whole different kind of creative thinking.
Getting us alone without a child or childs.
Yes.
And where, like, husbands can be, working or watching said childs.
That's right. Other child at school.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One sleeping should be sleeping. Please go to sleep.
So thank you to teachers at school. So we finally...
Amen.
Yeah. Helped with that part. So that eliminates... Not eliminates, that's a bad word. But takes care of at least a good portion of the afternoon where we can, like, actually have a day to do this, and it makes it worth it. Because that's the whole point. We want it to complement what we're already doing with our lives, because what we are doing is already super important. So
yes,
it has to add to, not be a difficult thing.
Exactly, like complement, not compete with, kind of thing. Yeah. That's so true. And this first episode, honestly, is an introduction to kind of give you guys a little bit of our heart, let you know a little bit about us, and kind of what this podcast is going to be about.
Yeah,
and our heart behind it. So, Hannah, I just want you to just take it away. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
I was about to ask you to do that.
I beat you.
Yeah, so I am Hannah. I'm a mom of 4. I already said that. But my biggest flex, I will say, I'm the oldest of 13 kids. And so I have been around the world of just, I would say, not just health, but wellness, but also learning how to implement other things besides just, like, going straight to medical when it comes to health in general. I've been around children my whole entire life. And
you've raised children since you were a child.
Facts. Yes, I am 28, and I feel like I've been parenting for 20 years.
Like, I feel like an old lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm just beginning. Like, I can't wait to be 30 so I can legitimately say I am 30, even though I've felt like I've been 30 for 10 years.
Yeah.
So.
That whole 13 going on 30 was Hannah.
Hey, that's me. It was based off of me. No. But so my mother was very kind of like holistic, natural. Also, there was a million of us. And so just going to the hospital every time someone had something was just not really in the cards. And so it just made sense to be able to cook things from scratch, do things like essential oils and herbs and stuff like that, because it could just go a lot further. And I really got just hung to that, and I really liked it a lot. It was I'm a very much of a hands-on person. If I see a problem, I want to fix it, or at least try to. And whenever you're in that type of, like, functional wellness atmosphere where you're like, oh, you have a headache, you have a stomach ache. Like, let me go see what I can do instead of just going straight to, okay, we're going to have to go to the hospital or whatever. We were in a situation in a dynamic lifestyle where that wasn't always the option. So it made my mind go to a place of always researching, looking more into herbs and looking more into different things with recipes. We also could never just buy a box of Hamburger Helper and it's going to feed our whole family. So that would be like 6 boxes of it. So it was not economical at all. So just the intuitive of having to create things and from scratch, learning where it came from. It made more sense to grind our own wheat instead of just buying bags of flour all the time. Like, I could go all the way into it. So going into being married and motherhood, I already kind of had just... there was no fear in that area of just like, oh, I could actually make my own bread instead of buying it, since the prices have gone up like crazy. Yes. I could just do that. There's no fear based on that. So I'm very grateful for different parts of that, living that way of such a reactive type of lifestyle instead of more of like, oh, I guess I should learn this just so I know it. It was more of like, I'm not afraid to figure out how to make sourdough or how to give my kids colloidal silver, or, oh, I can make colloidal silver, or like tallow, know what that's from. Like, I know there's so many more options to help support a fever than just giving them Tylenol. Like, not that any of those things are bad, but just knowing that there's so many more options.
Definitely. Like, they shouldn't be the first response. They can be, hey, you know, we've tried everything natural. Because we're all for, if a child needs to go to a doctor, if a child needs to go to a hospital, which I dealt with 2 months ago. Yeah. There's discernment in that as a mom, you know, and that is a beautiful thing. Like, even with you, Hannah, like, you're like so chill about stuff, which is so good, because sometimes I'm like, so Greg did this, he's breathing weird, we like go back and forth with each other. She's like, well, it's probably just, I was like, you're right, it's probably just, it's nothing crazy, it's not a big deal. Yeah. And it's usually not. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
And it's just cool though, like, cause I'm not a doctor. I mean, you're a holistic naturopath, and I haven't gone to school for any of that, but I've researched the heck out of, you know, just knowing signs. We just went through, this, like a retreat, a wellness retreat with Dr. Barbara O'Neill. Both of us went together. And doing stuff like that and just learning about the body in general, which everyone's allowed to do that. FYI, you are allowed to learn about your own body.
And be able to take care of your body.
You are allowed to take care of your own body. So if you need second opinions on stuff, you are allowed to do that. And I actually learned that I kind of upgraded that to when I started having kids, and my very first pregnancy was turned into an emergency C-section, all the things. And then... you know, once I became pregnant with my second one, I learned a whole nother set of things where I was able to kind of speak and advocate for myself and for my body whenever other people were telling me different things. And I was able to go back into the world of researching, like, there could be more options here. And now here I am today because I looked more into the options of body development and pelvic floor therapy and chiropractic, and I'm able to sit here and have had 3 successful VBACs when my first opinion I was given was that I was never going to be able to give birth naturally due to the way my body was and the fact that I had 1 C-section. So that's why we're both, I think, super passionate. And then we became friends is it almost 4 years now?
Beckham was like a couple months old.
Yeah, so like 4 years. That's crazy. So 2020...
COVID, man.
That's when we all
the world started. I'm just kidding.
The world stopped and the world started.
Our world
began when it was shut down.
I'm so poetic.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's, so my knowledge comes from legitimate experience of just, I know there has to be another way, or there has to be more options. I'm not good with just, this is it. Sorry. Like, I'm not okay with that. And that's probably my personality, being the oldest, because you're around, being the oldest, of a million people, like a crowd, you know, there's a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of different needs. There's a lot of different wants. Like, it's just, that's just the case. And so naturally I'm a person where I'm like, there's got to be multiple choice. Like,
yes,
there has to be. And there is. And so, and I only have 4 children, and I can tell you all of them need very individual things that are not the same.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. And I think the coolest dynamic, even with like us coming together for a podcast, is what you were saying. Like, you have a lifetime of all these experiences, right? And then like, okay, so a little bit about me. I felt like I needed to go to school for naturopathy at the end of 2020, and I started beginning of 21. Yeah. And so I've been practicing for about 2 years now after school. Well, yeah, almost 2 years. And so I just love that combo too, because like I've seen even in our relationship, like a give and take, even with experiences. Like whenever I see Gray, you know, as a child that age, like you've seen that with your siblings over and over. Yeah. That's why I'm like, help me. I think it could be, you know.
Like,
and so
I know the knowledge behind it. I just
love that. Yes. And even you saying like, I feel like your wisdom with how the body works is so awesome, because I even feel like because even going through school for naturopathy, you do have to find your niche. There's so many different elements. It's such a wide scope, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I really feel like the Lord was kind of honing me in on the emotional aspect of it, because that's something I actually deal with. You know, like pushing down emotions that can actually become an issue in my body. Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool, because like emotional stuff is what I look at first, and you're always like functional, but then we like, I don't know, it's like this really cool puzzle that we kind of are together. Yeah. I love that for us.
Yeah, it's very the hands-on plus the like the knowledge, because you do need the brain, whatever's going on with the brain. That's the head. I mean, the head, obviously, but it's the start to everything. And then if you've got the hands-on, the action person, you know, so you're like, I know this is how this is supposed to go, A, B, C, D, and then I'm like, bet, got it. I'll take it and do it, you know? Yes. And I've noticed that I do need someone like that in my life, that I can like go back to and be like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this way, but am I right? And then Jordan's like, yes. Yes, you are.
We are also each other's number one cheerleaders. You'll probably see that, like, Hannah, you said that so good. Oh my gosh, Jordyn, you were so good. Like, you might be like, oh, shut up. Yeah. But that's just how we are, and that's how we are. But like, okay, so a little bit with, I just grew up in the regular, like, you get strep throat, you get sick, you go to your doctor, you get put on antibiotics, you know, and that's all that like I knew growing up, and that's all my mom knew growing up, and that was like the norm. Like the way you grew up was very rare.
We were so weird. We were.
They were also homeschooled.
We were, again, so weird.
Nowadays is so funny, because I mean that's almost turning more.
It's a trend.
Yes.
Yeah. And back then, everyone's like, "Oh, Little House on the Prairie, here y'all come," and it didn't help that we drove around in a 15-passenger van.
Like, this isn't a trend. This is my life. Dang it.
This isn't a joke, you guys. This is for real. We're just missing the cameras. Like,
oh, Aubrey, my husband, always is like, homeschooled Hannah. She never, you know.
No, it was so mean, because I started a business where I was starting a series called Homestyle with Hannah, and he was like, no, bro, that's homeschool with Hannah, because I can't pronounce anything right, like, ever. And so he's like, oh, homeschool with Hannah. Like, you're mean.
He's so rude. Aubrey, if you're watching, you should be watching, supporting us.
Like and subscribe.
Aubrey, like and subscribe. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we're so excited. I mean, I just think that whoever is here, whoever's watching, you're meant to be listening, you're meant to be watching, and that you will hear certain things that you need to hear, either for if you have questions of like, hey, I'm a mom and I'm pregnant, or I'm a mom and I already have kiddos, and you want to be able to like steward them well, right? Yeah. And I just believe that through our experiences and through like what we've learned along the way, we'll be able to help you. And we're going to go over the Sustain Me principle, and it's an acronym. Yeah. So that's what we're going to start doing, is, you know, going over that S, the U, the S. I'm not going to spell anymore because when I'm put on the spot,
SUS.
That's right. Sus, but we're not sus.
No.
This podcast isn't.
M-E. Sustain me.
That's right.
All of those letters represent something. And to keep you on your toes. Yeah, that one. We won't tell you until each episode. So each letter is going to represent an episode that we're going to talk about, because that acronym basically is the principle that represents. It's like a guideline to help you with overall like wellness, things that you could implement in your life to do and just go back to that we learned from Barbara O'Neill. That is basically everything that we kind of know, but it's nice. Who doesn't like rules to follow?
Yeah.
Or
some people, but
some people don't. But some people like me, I'm like, thank you. I just need something to go back to.
Tell me what to do.
And it's awesome. It's awesome because whenever you're in a place of where you're just struggling, or like with me, which has happened a few times, where I'm just like just on the struggle bus, like, what is going on? Why am I not feeling good? Why am I just like having a hard time in this area? When you have something to go back to and be like, am I doing this? Am I back on these, like, am I having enough sunshine? That's going to be the first episode. That's S. Oh. That's the first S, is sunshine. Like, literally just basic things that honestly you find all the way back to the Bible of God has actually given us a lot of tools.
Yes.
From just the Bible of what these bodies that he created to do such amazing things that we can just follow on a daily basis without needing to buy anything, without needing to like go anywhere. Like in your home, you could be probably the healthiest you could be overall, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And that's kind of why we felt like this was super important, just to be that girlfriend that you could just listen to. Well, talk to. I mean, you could talk to us in your car. We won't talk back.
Hey.
But I mean, we can imagine. But that's kind of why we wanted to do this, because we do this on a daily basis with each other when we get to finally hang out with our crowded group of people we have.
Our children.
Yes. Our families. And it's so cool. So who doesn't love to be able to talk or hear from someone else that's like, oh my gosh, I'm like that too, or I was wondering that too. And if you're a young mom that you're kind of like me, mindset wise, and even Jordan too, where you're like, there's gotta be another way, or if you don't even know that there's another way, and like, because you experienced that too, where you're like, I had no idea. Yeah, and so that's kind of how we ended up becoming friends as well, because I was doing stuff already, but then you were like, I wish I would have known that, or,
Definitely, yes.
So it's cool to have another person to be able to hear from their own experiences, but then also be humble to like, know, okay, I did do it this way, but I can do something different now.
Exactly. You're not too far gone.
No, never.
And I love that this podcast is going to be for people that haven't even started a health journey yet.
No.
Or people that have been well in a health journey and have done all of their research and are a little overwhelmed by everything, because I'm telling you.
Oh, girl.
We're surrounded by toxicness everywhere we go. You might get overwhelmed, but it's doable.
Yeah.
A healthy lifestyle in this day and age is doable. And I think that that's like a huge heart that we want to share with you guys, that it is doable. Mm-hmm. It is.
It is. It's very doable. And it also, like, I'm just going to say it. We're going to go ahead and get this out there. The holistic,
oh my gosh, what is it?
Holistic, organic people can be a little much. We can be cultish, okay? Like, let's just say it and let's put it out there.
They're so weird.
I'm just kidding. Okay? We're not that. We want to just make it very loud and clear that even though certain things, holistic-wise, organic-wise, are better, is better, we don't need to be butts about it. We don't.
You don't need to be a toxic person about non-toxic living.
Amen. Preach to the choir. That's one reason why I put off doing anything like this for a while, just because of living the way that I did. I did notice that my mom and some of other people that she would be around when they were in like the whole non-toxic, we don't do this, we don't burn candles, we don't do that, which are the reasons behind it All
makes
legitimate.
sense.
All legitimate. Makes so much sense. But you become just as bad as the other people who were, you know, wanting to live a certain way. You're being the same way, only worse, because you're like, I don't do that. Like, that's not very welcoming at all.
No one has ever been shamed into, like, you know what? I should live a healthier life because you just called me every name in the book because I lit a candle in front of you. You know,
No. When you think
never
about
happened.
it. No, exactly. Never.
And so we will share these truths in love, in understanding, realizing that you guys that are first starting your health journey, it's a process.
Very much. I'm
Baby
still
steps.
learning.
Exactly.
There's so many levels. It's an onion. Literally, this type of lifestyle is an onion. My husband was just saying this morning, he was like, we really need to get back on living like the whole Barbara O'Neill, back to the Sustain Me protocol, because we got off of it because life happens. You take your kids to school. You kind of are forgetting we need to do our exercise in the morning before we go. We need to do this and this and that. Like, life happens. And so that's why this is important to realize that you don't beat yourself up whenever you're not living the best you can be. The best part you can do is go back to it at some point when you're ready for it and be okay to be like, oh, I fell off the wagon. All right, let's start over. Let's get back on this. Like, that's honestly a healthier mindset than just being like, oh, I never can get there. And it's,
So I won't.
yeah,
I quit.
it's like practice makes perfect, honestly. So I don't know what else. I think that pretty much, you think we should share
That's
any more?
it, guys. I think we have shared our hearts. We're so excited about this. I know I've already said it, but we really are. Like, this is going to be great. And we're going to take this journey with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is going to be fun. And our goal too is, we're moms that listen to podcasts, and we're, again, moms that listen to podcasts. So that means that we do not want to make these any longer than like 25 minutes, because we all know we don't really have more than
screaming
that.
in the background right now.
There are dishes piling and laundry that's still left in the washer after you've started it 3 times.
Run it one more time and you need to put it in the dryer.
So that's why we're going to wrap it up. We can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. It's going to be fun. We're going to learn about sunshine. The very first... What is it?
What is what? The Sustain Me principle
lifestyle. It's the first letter. We're going to talk about it.
Yes, we are.
All right.
We'll see you soon.